You've probably heard the phrase mad cow disease. Mad cow disease is caused by prions, or misfolded proteins in the brain, that cause other proteins to misfold. Prions essentially cause a cascade of protein malfunction in the brain, which quickly leads to health and behavioral complications, and then death. This disease affected cattle who were being fed the ground-up remains of other cattle. Some of the cows who were being ground up into this cannibalistic feed had these prions in their brain, and when their brain and spinal cord was ground up with the rest of their meat into a protein-rich goop, the resulting feed material was thoroughly contaminated with prions. Cows who ate the prions would suffer from mad cow disease. Their brain chemistry would start to malfunction. They would exhibit strange and harmful behaviors. Their physiology would start to malfunction and internally collapse, and eventually, they would die. Prions and the mad cow disease they cause are terrifying. Even more terrifying is that this disease is not limited to cattle. The variant form can be spread to humans who eat contaminated beef, but a sporadic form, which occurs spontaneously, is much more common. That in and of itself is pretty terrifying, that the most common form of this prion disease in humans is spontaneous. That's scary. In humans, this sporadic, spontaneous form of a degenerative prion disorder is known as Creutzfeldt-Jakob Disease, or CJD. When the prions, a type of cellular glycoproteins, get misfolded in the brain, this can lead to the development of lesions that make the brain tissue spongy and heavily perforated. The damage quickly progresses, leading to jerking, unstable body movements, to speech impairment, and the loss of balance and coordination. The prions will accumulate to form amyloid plaques, and then dementia sets in, alongside other terrible symptoms like memory loss, hallucinations, anxiety and depression, and psychosis. This neurological degeneration is rapid, and in the majority of cases, it kills the patient within 6 months of the symptoms becoming apparent. There is no cure for this disease. There are treatments, but these do not stop the disease or even slow its progression. All of the treatment options are almost entirely palliative, minimizing the jerky movements and the less grievous psychological symptoms like anxiety and depression. But ultimately, there's no method to stop the prions from accumulating into plaques, and there's no method to prevent the brain tissue from being riddled with the lesions that make it all spongy and withered. Okay, so why am I talking about this horrible, horrifying, terrible disease? Well, it turns out that British scientists have developed a man-made antibody, a purely artificial antibody called PRN-100, which is able to intercept prions and prevent them from binding to and then misfolding other healthy proteins. By preventing the prions from binding to other proteins and misfolding them, the PRN-100 treatment should theoretically prevent the cascade of prion formation. It should prevent the accumulation of prion amyloid plaques. This could therefore also theoretically prevent the development of spongy brain tissue. It could prevent progressive symptoms of neurodegeneration, and it could possibly even prevent death. Most recently, and most newsworthy, is that doctors and researchers have been given the go-ahead to perform a limited clinical trial with the drug in a single patient affected by CJD. This is really exciting, but it's also very uncertain. The researchers don't know how the patient will respond to the treatment. They're not even certain if it will effectively cross the blood-brain barrier. All of this is on the cutting edge of medical science, and beyond the edge is the unknown frontier, where we really can only make educated guesses as to what will happen. In 2010, a woman named Annie Beattie died from Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. Her struggle and her death brought awareness to the disease, and it helped garner support to find a cure. Her widower, Colin Beattie, was interviewed about the new PRN-100 treatment, and he said that if it was around for Annie, she would have had the opportunity to be treated with it, and she might have survived. He said, quote, "It's true that the treatment carries potential risks, and the benefits are not yet certain. But without it, there is no hope. The only certainty with CJD is death." Unquote.